All right, everyone, get ready for a fascinating deep dive today. We're taking a look at travel and transportation, but with a unique twist, all through the lens of John Ellis.
John Ellis, you say?
Yeah, so he owns and runs this chauffeur service in Perth, Australia. My Getaway driver is called.
Yeah.
And get this, he recently went on a trip to Japan, specifically to soak up their transportation history.
Sounds intriguing.
It gets even better. We've got 3 different sources that make it seem like he had 3 totally different Japan experiences all rolled into one trip.
3 sources. Lay 'em on me.
First up, we've got this trip deal brochure for like a whirlwind tour of Japan.
Classic Japan experience, I bet. Hitting all the major spots.
Oh, you know it. Tokyo, Kyoto, Hiroshima, Mount Fuji, the works. But then alongside that, we've got this article specifically about John's trip.
Okay, so not just a regular tourist jaunt, then.
Not at all. This article focuses on his passion for transportation, almost like he's using the trip as research for my Getaway driver, his business.
Ah, that makes sense. A businessman with a purpose.
Right. But then, hold on, the third source throws a real curveball. It's a guide to Mario Karting in Tokyo.
Wait, Mario Karting? Like the video game?
Yep. Seems a bit out of place next to the temples and bullet trains, right?
You think. It's definitely not what I'd expect from a transportation history buff.
But who knows? Maybe John saw something in that over-the-top, playful style of Mario Karting that sparked some ideas for his business.
I guess when you're in the business of creating unique experiences, you never know where inspiration might strike.
Okay, so let's start with that classic Japan tour from the Tripadil brochure. It looks like the kind of trip that tries to pack in all the highlights, from temples and gardens to bustling city life and peaceful landscapes.
It's definitely geared toward giving travelers a taste of everything Japan has to offer. They hit up some of the most iconic spots, like the Meiji Shrine and Sensoji Temple in Tokyo, the Fushimi Inari Shrine in Kyoto, with those thousands of red torii gates, and even the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park, a place steeped in history.
Wow, so a real journey through time and tradition.
Absolutely. But then you've got John's trip, which, based on that article, seems to have had a much more specific focus, like his visit to the Toyota Museum in Yokohama.
Ah, yes, the Toyota Museum. I've heard that's quite the experience for any car enthusiast.
It's much more than just a car showroom. They showcase the evolution of automobiles, from those early prototypes all the way to futuristic concept cars. For someone in John's line of work, it must have been incredibly insightful.
To see how far transportation has come.
Exactly. Then, of course, you've got the Mario Karting in Tokyo, which is, well, quite a departure from the serenity of a temple garden.
Yeah, you get to drive these customized go-karts through the city streets dressed up as Mario characters.
It sounds crazy, I know, but maybe John was onto something. I mean, he's not just driving people around, he's trying to create memorable experiences.
And you can't deny that Mario Karting is definitely memorable.
You said it. It's fun, unique, and maybe even a bit subversive. And the guide even outlines different routes you can choose from, each offering a different slice of Tokyo.
There's Shinjuku with its skyscrapers, Shibuya with that famous scramble crossing, even Akihabara, the electric town known for all things anime and gaming.
So you're not just seeing the city, you're experiencing it in this totally unexpected way.
Yeah, it definitely seems like John is thinking outside the box when it comes to transportation.
That's for sure.
So we've got these 3 seemingly disparate experiences, but let's not forget the man at the center of it all, John Ellis, and his business, my Getaway driver.
Right, we need to delve into what he does and how these experiences might have influenced him.
Well, my Getaway driver is a personal driver and chauffeur service based in Perth, and they're available 24/7. They handle everything from airport transfers to special events and personalized tours.
So it's all about providing a reliable, comfortable, and tailored experience.
Exactly. Now the question is, how do these 3 Japan experiences, from the traditional tour to the car museum to the wacky Mario Karting, all tie together? What kind of inspiration did John bring back to Perth?
That's what we'll be diving into next. You know, one thing that really stands out to me is how John's trip exposed him to such a wide range of transportation options.
You're talking about the contrast, right? Like he saw everything from super modern high-tech stuff to almost whimsical things.
Exactly. On one hand, he experienced the Shinkansen, Japan's famous bullet train.
Oh, yeah. The bullet train. I mean, it's like the epitome of efficiency and technological advancement. I've always wanted to ride one of those.
I know. They're incredible. And you would think someone like John, who's so into cars, would be all about the open road. But maybe experiencing the Shinkansen opened his eyes to a different side of things, like the allure of rail travel.
It's true. And you can't deny those bullet trains are pretty sleek.
Yeah.
But John's business is all about personalized service, right? So even if he's not going to start a bullet train line in Perth, maybe he picked up on some things about how the Shinkansen operates that he could apply to my Getaway driver.
Like what?
Well, think about it. The Shinkansen is known for its seamless integration of customer comfort and punctuality.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's not just about the technology itself. It's about the whole experience.
Exactly. So maybe John's thinking, how can I bring that level of precision and attention to detail to my Getaway driver?
So pickups are consistently on time, roads perfectly optimized, cars always immaculate.
That's the idea. And let's not forget about that Japanese concept we talked about earlier, omotenashi.
Omotenashi, the art of anticipating a customer's needs before they even realize they have them.
Right. And going above and beyond to create a truly exceptional experience. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising if John was inspired by that, would it?
Not at all. It's a core part of Japanese culture, especially in the service industry.
I'm just trying to picture what that would look like in practice, how John might implement that omotenashi concept in my Getaway driver.
Okay, so imagine this. You step into one of John's cars, and right away, you notice the temperature is already set to your liking. There's a selection of chilled towels and complimentary snacks waiting for you.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
And here's the kicker. The driver has actually researched your destination beforehand. They're ready to offer recommendations or share interesting facts about the places you're passing along the way.
Wow. It's those little touches, those personalized details that can really elevate a simple car ride into something special.
Exactly. It transforms transportation from just getting from point A to point B into an experience to be savored.
It's funny, when we were talking about the Toyota Museum earlier, it struck me as more than just a casual stop on John's itinerary. It's almost like he was paying homage to the roots of his industry while also getting a glimpse into its future.
I totally agree. Japan is a country that deeply respects its heritage, but also fully embraces innovation. And I think that duality is something John could really draw inspiration from.
Yeah, it's like finding that balance between honoring tradition and pushing boundaries. So we've got the efficiency of the bullet train, the anticipatory service of omotenashi, and that historical perspective from the Toyota Museum. But I got to admit, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the Mario Karting thing. Like, how does that possibly fit into the picture of a sophisticated chauffeur service?
Well, remember what we said before. John isn't just providing transportation. He's in the business of crafting experiences.
Okay, but Mario Karting, it's so out there.
Think about it from a customer's perspective. What's more unique and memorable than cruising through the streets of Tokyo dressed up as Mario?
I mean, yeah, it's not something you'd see every day. It's definitely not your average chauffeur service. But I think I'm starting to get it. It's not about literally bringing Mario Karting to Perth. It's about recognizing that transportation can sometimes just be pure fun.
Exactly. It can be playful and whimsical and bring a smile to people's faces. Maybe John is thinking about ways to inject a bit more of that energy into his business.
Like, what if he offered themed tours for special events? Or found ways to make even a routine airport transfer feel more like an adventure?
Now you're getting it. It's
Yeah.
not about replicating Japan's transportation system exactly. It's about extracting those underlying principles: efficiency, customer focus, a willingness to innovate, and yeah, even a dash of fun, and finding ways to apply them in a way that makes sense for his business.
Okay, now things are starting to click. John's trip wasn't about copying Japan. It was about immersing himself in a culture that approaches transportation in a very particular way. He was soaking up those lessons and figuring out how to translate them into something unique and valuable for his own customers back in Perth.
That's a great way to put it.
So we've got John Ellis, the transportation enthusiast, back from his whirlwind tour of Japan, brimming with new ideas. But the big question is, what's he going to actually do with all this inspiration? How will this translate into tangible changes for my Getaway driver?
That's what we'll explore when we come back.
And we're back. We've been following John Ellis on this incredible journey as he explores the world of Japanese transportation. I have to say, it's got my wheels turning.
Me too. And what's really fascinating is how this whole experience highlights the connection between culture and transportation. It's not just about moving people from point A to point B. It's about the values embedded in that journey.
I'm starting to see that. It's like each culture has its own unique approach to transportation, and there's so much we can learn from those different perspectives.
Exactly. And John, being in the transportation business, is in a prime position to take those lessons and really apply them.
So we're not just talking about him upgrading his fleet with a few electric vehicles.
That might be part of it, but I think it goes deeper than that.
Yeah.
Imagine my getaway driver partnering with local businesses here in Perth to offer these curated experiences that blend the best of both worlds.
Okay, now you've got me intrigued. What kind of experiences are we talking about?
Well, think about it. What if my getaway driver offered a trip to a local winery, but with a Japanese-Australian fusion cuisine twist? Or a tour of Perth's art scene, but with a guide who can highlight the Japanese influences in the artwork?
It's about weaving those threads of culture together. I love it. And it plays right into that whole omotenashi concept we were talking about, anticipating and exceeding customer expectations. And it's not just a ride, it's an experience.
Exactly. It transforms transportation into a platform for discovery, a way to connect with a place on a deeper level. And, we can't forget about sustainability. Japan is really leading the way in eco-friendly transportation technology.
Oh yeah, they've got those hydrogen-powered buses, right? And all sorts of other innovative solutions.
They do. And remember how John was so impressed by how common electric vehicles are in Japan? I wouldn't be surprised if he came back thinking about incorporating hybrid or electric vehicles into his own fleet.
Or maybe even exploring partnerships with companies that are developing these new mobility solutions.
Right, because responsible transportation is becoming more and more important. And John seems like the kind of guy who wants to be at the forefront of that change.
So it's not just about looking at what's happening right now. It's about thinking ahead and figuring out how his business fits into the bigger picture of sustainable transportation.
Absolutely.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive into John Ellis's Japanese adventure, it's clear that his trip was about way more than just a vacation.
It was an opportunity for him to immerse himself in a culture that approaches transportation in such a unique and thoughtful way.
He learned, he was inspired, and now he's bringing those insights back to Perth.
And it all leaves us with a final question. How can we, as individuals, learn from John's experience and incorporate some of these ideas into our own lives?
That's a great question. It's like, how can we take all this and make it relevant to our own day-to-day choices?
Well, maybe it starts with being more mindful about how we choose to get around. Can we opt for more sustainable modes of transportation whenever possible?
I like that.
Or maybe it's about seeking out travel experiences that offer a deeper cultural immersion, a chance to really connect with a place and its people. Or maybe it's as simple as remembering to slow down and appreciate the journey instead of just rushing to get to the destination.
I think that's a perfect note to end on.
Yeah.
So as we say sayonara to John Ellis and his Japanese adventure, let's all keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those wheels turning.